Hey, how's it going? So, I want to talk about restoration trailers. You've probably know to some degree what these are, but it's basically when, let's say, a brand like Studio Canal gets a film, they do a restoration of it, and they're like, hey, look, we're going to re release this in cinemas, or at least we're going to try to show off the new footage, the new restoration in a trailer for the film. Be like, 100 years since it was initially released. Now we have it on 4K from the original camera negative, not director approved because the guy's dead, stuff like that. And usually that stuff is great. It's a good way to promote the film. I think they've done that recently with Audition, the Takashi Miike film. They've got like a 2K restoration, and they're showing it at film festivals and whatever because cult classic kind of film. You know, there's stuff like that that's really great, and I love when they do those for trailers. They do that for Imprint does that. Criterion have trailers occasionally for stuff like that. But there's kind of a burden, a little bit of a problem you might notice with some of these restoration trailers. They're not made for people who haven't seen the film before. And that's a key thing I want to make because I have seen restoration trailers, a lot of them have shown footage of iconic scenes. Stuff that's like, hey, remember this particular scene? Now you can see it in 4K, which is still great, maybe it's a really breathtaking scene, maybe it's a really, really particular scene that you don't want spoiled in your trailer, like if you were to compare to how some people have fan edited modern trailers of older films to try either A, get more people interested in it nowadays because it's been like out for 40, 50 years, or it's a element of as a thought experiment, as an editing experiment. What if I took the footage from the film and made it as a trailer to today's standards? How would it compare to the original trailer, or either original teaser or original theatrical trailer, or just because the original trailers aren't great or there aren't any, sometimes you get special features on Blu-rays which are just theatrical trailer and it looks like garbage because it's like poor sources and stuff like that and it's cut awkwardly and it's like, what the hell, this is how they used to sell the movie? Let's update it. Those are like the two different kinds of trailers, but the restoration ones are the ones I'm talking about because those other trailers are usually fan-made. Usually, there probably are professional companies who will go through and like re-edit a trailer or even remaster a trailer. I think there's a Drive-In Delirium. I don't know if they ever remastered trailers, but there's like a bunch of Blu-rays that we have in Australia. I don't know if they are in any other country, called Drive-In Delirium. I've got one of them. There's a whole collection of them. This is Drive-In Delirium, 60s and 70s savagery, over 140 demented trailers, uncut, uncensored, and remastered in high definition. This is the one I have. I mostly got it because I like 60s and 70s trailers. I'm not really big on trailers. It's weird. Like, I hate modern trailers as it is because they spoil too much of the movie. So everyone on Twitter going crazy about the new Barbie trailer, and I'm like, great. Stop showing me screenshots of the movie. I don't want to see that. I want to watch the movie and experience it in the goddamn cinema. I will happily watch a teaser, maybe the first theatrical trailer, because they usually don't spoil the plot of the whole entire movie. But do I want to watch the final trailer for the Flash movie? No, because I don't want to watch that movie. Actually, I'll probably watch the trailer because I'm not going to watch that movie, but I ain't supporting that stuff anymore. Go away. So anyway, this is also available, Drive-In Delirium for the 80s. This is actually all regions at 367 minutes. I know that a friend of mine had gone and seen one of these in cinemas, and they showed a random film from that collection of trailers at the end of it. I think it was like RoboCop or something. I think that was for the 80s thing. But yeah, this is literally just a collection of trailers, all remastered, which is interesting. But I think it's because, again, there's an art form to older trailers. It actually tells you what they all are. Holy crap. On the alternate artwork, which is really nice artwork. Oh my god. Why do I show this artwork? This artwork. Oh, it's the same artwork, just bordered better. I'll show you because it doesn't have any nudity on it. Kind of? I don't know. Kind of, but not really. But as you can see there, it tells you all the different things. So you get part 1, the 60s, part 2, the 70s, and yeah, there's a lot of trailers in here. And there's also a post-show as well. There's a pre-show between each ones and post-shows and intermissions. My god. So, that's interesting. I haven't watched it. I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen any of these Drive-In Deliriums. I would like to, but I have... it's one of those things of like, do I want to? But I'm also the kind of guy who'll watch a documentary about 80s horror films and be like, oh, I should check this one out, but then they spoil the ending of the movie. I'm like, fuck you. That was a thing when I got In Search of Darkness, because I crowdfunded it, the first one. I haven't watched the second or third one because I don't own them. It's too expensive to get them. Fuck that. But at the same time, there's a element to them where, like, I like watching that kind of stuff too, because it's like people talking about like some of my favorite genres of films and whatever. But then they got to like Sleepaway Camp, and I won't spoil the movie, but they show you what happens at the end of the movie, and I literally covered my eyes because I'm like, I don't even think, I covered my eyes and I fast forwarded through it. It's the only part of the documentary I did that, because for the rest of it I'm like, I'm okay for spoilers, but it's like, why? But at the same time, as a documentary, I guess there's a degree of it's for fans of these movies. If you haven't seen these movies, it shouldn't spoil, like, it will probably spoil it, but it should convince you to watch them. But I'm like, I don't like getting spoiled for a movie, which I already do on Twitter, and then be like, I'm going to now watch that movie. A lot of times that has happened. Like I said, Takashi Miike's Audition, I saw a particular scene through a GIF on Twitter, and was like, I should watch this movie. And then when I saw that particular scene, it involves something moving that you didn't think would move, because I don't want to spoil it, and I'd seen a GIF of it, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It didn't shock me as much as people had been shocked when they initially watched it, which really bothers me. But that's why we're talking about restoration trailers, because restoration trailers, they just spoil the movies now. I understand these are movies that have been around for, again, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, probably up to 100 years, because again, movies have been around for over 100 years. But I have that fear about it. It's like, I don't want to watch the restoration trailer, because even though that could be here's the footage, we've restored it, now we're cutting together a trailer, and it's going to be, here are all the best bits of the movie. Like, there's already a presentation of that, which I don't really have any on display, do I? This is my other example. So this is my first ever copy of Suspiria. This is the Synapse Blu-ray release. Now, I love this film. I love this artwork. It's great, but I have the 4K. I don't need to display this anymore. There's a little issue I had with it, because they do this thing as well, much like with restoration trailers. I'm really debating what the hell I'm going to call this video, where they will also do this. They will give you a whole new, like, mashup of different scenes that are really iconic. So, like, this part here is from the start of the film, sure. But this part of how she's looking there is from the last 5 to 10 minutes of the movie. The majority of it is kind of a blur when you're looking at it, so there's not a lot of it spoiled, but there's a lot of Italian or Giallo films that the artwork will also spoil it. And it's really concerning, because it's like, why are you doing that? Like, there's an element to it where clearly, I like that they still have the original theatrical artwork, but there's clearly an element to it where you get to a point that this movie's been around for 50 years. Of course, we're going to do if there's a restoration, we're doing a Blu-ray release, we're going to commission someone to make artwork, and for the most part, same with a lot of Argento films, they will just cut together all the best bits, stick it on a poster, and be like, there's the movie, hey, you guys remember these great parts from this movie? But that's also like how they try to sell new audiences, like, hey, look at all this weird mishmash of stuff, and it's like, wow, that looks interesting, I can't wait to see that scene. Turns out it's the last 2 minutes of the movie, and it's actually the final scene. The big reveal twist, blah blah blah, is actually a goobly boo. I'm great at this job, aren't I? But you get my point. It's I find it a bit annoying. Something like that with artwork, sure. You can't usually do much about it, but at least you can flip it around. You don't have to, if you really like the artwork, you've seen the film before, you can keep it as the main thing. Sure, easy peasy. It's still nice that they're commissioning artwork. That's really appreciative. But for someone who's a new fan to it, for me, again, for the most part, there's no real complaint for me looking at covers like this, because for me, when I first look at them, they're gibberish. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at, because it's a bunch of crap put on a cover. I just have to watch the movie experience and be like, ah, that's what that is. Damn, that really spoils the movie, doesn't it? But at the same time, if you're not really paying too much attention, it's usually fine. So, it's a collage cover. I'm not huge on them, but I like people being able to get commissioned to do new artwork. That's fine. But restoration trailers, they're awful. But also because I don't like trailers. So, again, restoration trailers would be like, hey, I think it was actually for the Takashi Miike film. They're like, here's this really pivotal scene of the movie that spoils the movie in the trailer. And I remember someone commenting on it and being like, hey, this trailer spoils the whole movie. And it's like, yeah, it's a restoration trailer. That's what they do now. They're not, hey, let's restore the original trailer or make a trailer that's a modern version of a trailer for this movie. Instead, they're just like, this movie, it's been 50 years since it came out. It's known as this iconic thingy. And look at all these iconic scenes. Remember this movie? It's a remember this movie trailer. It's not a, here's this trailer for this movie that's old. Here, new people, come watch it. But the thing is, it's also acting like that. They did that for 2001 A Space Odyssey, where when they were like, this has been out for 70 years now, here's the 4K UHD, here's the, we're showing it in theaters again trailer. Great. But at the same time, it was concerning, because it's like, if you haven't, 2001 A Space Odyssey is very iconic. But the trailer, of course, is like, hey, here's all these iconic scenes, and I didn't mind it, because I'm like, I've seen this film before. It's fine. But it did show you all these like pivotal parts. Like, it sure has elements. Look, there's a spaceship, there's HAL, stuff like that. There's iconic imagery, sure, but it got to the point where it was showing you what happened at the end of the movie, the space baby, all that kind of stuff, and I was like, I guess because this movie's been out for 70 years, they're allowed. Is it 70 years or is it 60 years? I think it's 70 years. 60 years? I don't know, who cares? It's been around for more than 50 years. That's fine, sure, whatever. But yeah, for the most part, it's like, I guess you gotta advertise it the way you gotta advertise it. If it means you're gonna ruin the film or ruin the plot, people might not notice it. They'll finally see the restoration trailer, be like, hey, okay, it's out, it's on 4K or it's remastered. This is my invitation to go see it. To get the Blu-ray, to watch it in the cinemas, whatever they're doing for it. So, it's not a perfect system. It obviously has its perks. It works for what it needs to do. I'm not a fan, but it is what it is. I'm okay with the artwork stuff. That's fine. You're commissioning artwork, easy peasy. But for something that's simply like, hey, we're going to ruin this whole entire movie for you and spoil the plot and spoil this iconic twist. Yeah, nah, don't do that. That's just rude. I don't need to see that in a trailer, If I want to watch it, I'll watch the movie. I don't need this. So, yeah, that's my thoughts, my opinions on restoration trailers and posters and stuff like that. Let me know your thoughts down below. Bye. My battery's dying, so I gotta wrap this up. Bye.